We have gone live.
Thank you. And I show 2 extra attendees that are with us tonight along with the panel. Now there's 3. I would like to call City of Ferrisburg City Council meeting to order tonight, Monday, August 17, 2020. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hop,
Here.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Here.
Councilmember O'Donnell, Councilmember Carlson,
He's muted.
Councilmember Carlson, can you please unmute?
Here.
Councilmember Blease, Councilmember Montgomery,
Here.
Councilmember Sias.
Here.
During our last council meeting, Councilmember Blease did state that he would be on vacation today. But I have not heard from Mayor Pro Tem O'Donnell yet.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to excuse Councilmember Blease.
Okay,
Board.
Yeah, I'll support that.
motion support. Okay. To excuse Mayor Pro Tem O'Donnell at this time.
Yeah, I'll make that motion. I'm assuming he'll probably join us shortly,
Okay,
because usually he calls if he's not attending.
correct.
But I'll make the motion to excuse him.
Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Sias,
Yay.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes,
motion passed.
thank you. Pursuant to Executive Order number 2020-154, Ferrisburg City Council will conduct its business via Zoom to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Members of the public are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Members of the public are not required to register or otherwise provide information to attend. Please utilize the mute function on your phone while on the conference call when appropriate. Mayor Hop will run the virtual meeting like a regular meeting. There will be an opportunity at the beginning and at the end of the meeting for public comments. At this time, let's take a moment of silence to remember all those that have been affected by the COVID-19 over the past multiple months. Thank you. At this time, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Craig had the flag. If not, we'll just move ahead and you can look at my American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time on the agenda is for public comments. This time on the agenda is for any citizen to direct brief comments or questions to City Council. Time for public comments will be given when the agenda item is discussed. If you have a comment or question, please raise your hand to be recognized by the mayor. After being recognized by the mayor, please give your name and address for the record and proceed with your comment or question. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have attendees. Are any of the attendees care to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move down to item number 6. Consideration approval of consent agenda. Approve the August 3rd, 2020 City Council meeting minutes as printed.
So moved.
Support.
Motion support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you. Moving down to item 7, new business. A, discussion take action if appropriate to discuss the high groundwater at 19010 North Shore Drive, 19018 North Shore Drive, 19022 North Shore Drive, 19026 North Shore Drive, and 0 Piney Point Drive.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So at the last meeting, there was some discussion on the issue with the high water in the backyard of these addresses you just listed.
Yes.
City Council directed staff to obtain a quote to pump the water from the backyards. In your packet was a quote for $310 an hour. Late last week, I emailed you a copy of a more definite quote to pump the water for around $26,000. And that's based on the amount of water that's pumped out and discharged into the sanitary sewer system. Staff has a concern with pumping the water out without knowing if it will correct the problem, if it will be a short-term solution. If you go back there and the water's pumped out in a week or two, the water is just back up. There's not enough information to know that pumping the water out is really going to solve the problem at this time.
Was Mr. Bush able to give any additional information regarding that? If it's groundwater, or if it's in saturated groundwater, or if it's caused by something else
I have not had any conversations with Mr. Bush.
besides what we had during the last council meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I have a real question whether the city should get involved with pumping water on private property, because we have this issue all over the city.
Mhm.
We pump that one. The next rain, Park Place Circle is gonna call. They're gonna want us to pump it and haul it. This could be turned into a monstrosity that, once we do it for one, then we're obligated to do it for everyone. And while I empathize with their issue with water in the backyard, I think it's a private property issue pending the outcome of the drain commissioner's report and recommendations. So at this time, I would be opposed to approving anything to have the city involved in pumping this out. I would ask Craig to forward the information to the homeowners if they wish to do it, pump it on their own. We did have a firm quote from someone that you could forward that information to them to allow them to do it if they wish. But I don't think it's a city obligation at this point.
Okay. Council members, other ones have any feedback or need clarification from staff at this time before we go for a motion?
Your Honor, I'd like to say something. This is an exceptional cost, and I agree with Mr. Councilman DeWitt. But is there any way that the homeowner sent me an email and she was requesting if there's any way that they could pump it into the reservoir up on Piney Point? Would that be possible during dry seasons, just to give them some relief, so maybe they could do landscaping or build a wall in that time, or make other adjustments to keep the water at bay at least. Would that be something we could consider?
Is that directed towards staff? Like
Well-
towards Mr. Buzzinger?
Well, yeah, I'd like to ask the council if that would be something we could consider doing, to allowing them to do that. And I'd like Craig's opinion on it. I mean, if, you know, he knows what's going on up there the best and what he feels the consequences could be if we pump the water into Piney Point. I know we have an erosion issue already up there that I wanted to address too. I got an email about that. What's the consequences of pumping it up there if it's during the dry period? Is there a consequence?
Well, I did talk to the engineer that designed the North Shore Drive project, and a copy of his email was in your packet last week. His comment was the leaching system was not designed and intended for drainage of high groundwater levels. It was designed to handle a rain event and to drain areas of the impervious pavement and the road right of ways. So his comment was it was not designed for that.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we don't want to do any damage to our systems, you know, and to our road systems. But I know that they're, you know, looking for any solution at this point, and you know, it's a tough one. I'm not saying it's not, and you know, I told them that this is a tough one. You know, it's private property, and things are there's just a lot of issues with it at this point. So yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up, and because the homeowner had asked me that question, and I wanted to see if I could get any feedback as far as that. So, yeah.
We're just experiencing throughout the city and the Tri-City area, just experience extremely high waters at this time. I mean, our house, we're still mitigating the water to keep it out of our basement since November.
Mhm.
So that's 300 sandbags. So the groundwater and everything is just so saturated. And with the lake levels being so extremely high, we're so limited on how we can move the water. So
Yeah.
right now I see a couple hands up. We can ask Mary if you'd like to speak at this time. You're gonna have to unmute yourself.
And
Here,
as some of
okay.
you know, both myself and my husband Greg are sharing a laptop. So if you
Okay,
raise your hand again, it might be
Sure.
a different
Right.
comment. So this is my husband Greg.
Yeah, this is Greg, 19022 North Shore Drive. Craig, to your point, I understand that the drainage system was not meant for continuous pumping, especially considering the volumes of water that we had in our backyard, especially for something that would probably come right back. So we would need to, if we were going to mitigate the water long term, and we were using the pumps to do it, it would be on pretty much night and day. We understand that. However, we are looking to focus on trying to landscape the backyard so that we can at least improve our situations over these 4 yards. And one of the things that will need to be done prior to them coming in to do any kind of work is to eliminate the water, or at least minimize the water for a short period of time until they can landscape it appropriately. I'm not looking to make pumping into the drain a permanent way to get rid of the water, but Mayor Hopp, you mentioned you're trying to mitigate the water as well. We're not asking right now to pay for what we're trying to do in our backyard. All we need is the ability to do it. And as long as the water is there, we can't even do that. So we need to take the water out somehow. So I don't see how the drain could not handle a short period of time where they were pumping into it, considering it is meant to handle heavy downpours of rain. I can't imagine it's going to be any different than what we were looking to do, at least while we're trying to get the problem alleviated by bringing in a landscaper. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Greg, do you know how many days you would need to pump, or would all 4 property owners be doing this at the same time, or would it be all different times?
We spoke to a landscaper today. He felt like he could bring in pumps, and he felt like, depending on, how quickly he could get it, depending on, the rain situation over the next couple of months before he's ready to do it, he felt like it'd be a matter of days before he could pump it out and get ready to do this. So again, we're not saying we want to do this today, but we're saying once we can get, a landscaper lined up, get him committed to a date, could we do this for the few days, prior to when they landscape, so that we can fix, hopefully regrade the backyards and fix, this standing water issue.
And Craig, to answer your question, when we instituted the pumping, the water was at least a foot higher than it is now. And as you can imagine, the water is pretty much connected across all 4 properties. It took us no more than a day and a half to get the water down to pretty much nothing before we were told we had to stop pumping. So it wouldn't, especially right now where it's a good foot less than where it was at its worst. I can't imagine it would take more than a day or so to pump it down low enough to let him come in and do his work.
Which likely, just so everyone is booked out, all landscapers. So we'd be looking at probably late September, October at the earliest to be able to do this.
Okay. Craig, is this something that maybe staff could talk with the engineer a second time and see if there's any possibility, and then get back with council for our next meeting and let us know, or via email, so we could?
Yeah, I can check with the engineer. We have 2 more meetings of September.
Correct.
If city council wants to go in that direction, they can make that known tonight with a motion, and could make a contingent on the engineer approving the water being pumped into the drain for 2 days maximum or something like that.
With very tight parameters set on it per the engineer, if
His recommendation.
correct. Is that something that council would want to consider?
Your Honor, I would make that motion.
Okay.
I would support that.
Okay. So we have the motion to have staff reach out to the engineer, to get an opinion back on parameters that could possibly be put in place to alleviate the water for maybe 2 or 3 days, possibly to pump later, I'm assuming in September, closer to the construction time. Okay, so there's a motion and support. Any further discussion at this time? Okay, roll call, please.
You have Mary
We
has
have-
her hand up.
Oh,
Did you want to speak again, Mary?
no, I do. Go ahead and vote. And then I just wanted to make a comment when you're done voting, but this.
Okay, thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Donnell,
Please unmute yourself, Mayor Pro Tem O'Donnell.
He's working on it.
Okay.
Did you do everybody else, Deb?
yeah, I have everybody else. I just need the mayor.
Yes,
Okay, motion passed.
motion passed. Okay, then we will move forward. Mary, you said you had another question?
Yes, sorry, just one
Okay.
clarification. I just wanted to mention, I know I've got neighbors listening to the Zoom call, and this immediate action is separate from the long-term action of potentially having a North Shore Drainage District run by Joe Bush. I just wanted to kind of clarify that, because I know Joe is, starting to, look into those next steps and getting the board governance or whatever the next step approval is. So I just wanted to kind of make that clear that, this is a separate thing.
That is correct, yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we'll move down to 7B. discussion and take action if appropriate to approve a quote by JB Landscape Services Incorporated to remove a tree at William Ferry Park. So need a motion and support for further discussion regarding this?
I'll make a motion support.
Support.
Okay, it was Councilmember Carlson. Thank you. Further discussion regarding this quote to remove the tree at William Ferry Park.
Could we have Craig elaborate on this just a tad?
Sure, there's a tree that's in William Ferry Park. There's a boardwalk that runs along the lake there. And the tree is just about in the middle of the park. It's a large tree. It's hanging into the lake a little bit. We want to get it down before it falls into the water, which will cost more money to remove at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Craig, with this quote, does it include stump grinding? Are they taking the full tree down?
Take the whole tree down and then the DPW crew will restore the area.
Okay. Okay, so that would be for a $3,000 quote.
That's correct.
So there's a motion. Support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Donnell,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you. Moving down to 7C, discussion and take action if appropriate to approve the quote from Truck and Trailer Specialties for $15,579 for a 7-foot junior wing plow. And this was already put into the 2021 budget for $16,000. So we'll need,
Your Honor, I'll make a motion. We approve the purchase of the 7-foot junior wing plow.
Support.
motion and support. Further discussions around this purchase? Okay, hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember O'Donnell,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you. Moving down to item 7D, discussion take action if appropriate to designate blank as the city's voting delegate to the Michigan Municipal League annual meeting, and also to designate blank as the alternate voting delegate to the Michigan Municipal League annual meeting.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I would make a motion to appoint Tim O'Donnell as the delegate with Mayor Hop as the alternate.
Okay.
Support.
Motion support. Any further discussion around those nominations?
It's a
Yes.
virtual meeting. Tim, are you gonna have issues?
No.
And I
Okay.
will be, I am attending as vice president with the Michigan Municipal Mayors Association. So I'll already be involved with it at that point. So there's a motion support. Roll call, please.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Carlson,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Donnell,
Yes.
Mayor Hop,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you. Moving down to 7E, the work session for our 2020 goals. And those were put in our packet with updates from our city manager. So we can go through these one by one if council has questions with us. Pull out specific goals if we need clarification from, or just review and move on. What would council like to do? Review each of them and see where
Yeah.
we're at?
Yeah, let's walk through them.
Okay. So goal number 1, financial sustainability and the balanced budget. City Council passed the 2020-2021 city budget without cutting services. For customers who have good water, In sanitary sewer, these were a slight decrease. Proposal A in Headley Amendment continued to lower the millage needed to operate the city. So no services were cut for next year or this fiscal year that we're moving into. Goal number 2, solutions for Smith's Bridge. The grant has been submitted to the state to repair the bridge. If successful, repairs are expected to extend the life of the bridge for 20 years. Discussion still needs to take place on what steps ought to be taken in the next 20 years, more of a strategic plan for the bridge, when the bridge will need to be replaced. If the grant request is not successful, City Council will need to decide next steps. The grants will be awarded in early November, so we will have more information at that time. Due to the COVID, MDOT is speculating that they will still have the funding that is currently set for that budget. But the update is there's an astronomical amount of grants that have been received, and there's a very, very small pot of money of only $38 million to accommodate. And the figure was close to $400 million of grant requests had come in. So that is something that we may need to be considering sooner than later if we are not successful in November. Any more discussion on Smith's Bridge at this time? Okay. Moving down to goal number 3, maintain and improve streets. North Shore Drive project has been completed. The next street project is Dogwood Drive in 2022. There's a number of major and local streets that still need to have work done as well. And funding on these projects is getting scarcer each year. So here again, we're going to need to be, because 168th is definitely one that's going to need some work done to it also.
Your Honor,
Yes.
just to clarify on that goal, as the first sentence says, the North Shore Drive project is complete. It's substantially complete. There's a number of punch items that need to be completed yet for it to be
Okay.
finished. Just to
Okay.
clarify.
But the majority of that large project has been completed at this time. Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Your
Your
Honor,
Honor.
Yes.
Oh.
is there some reason why Dogwood is taking precedent over 168th, which is in horrific shape?
When was Dogwood put onto our long-term range plan for roads?
I would have to pull it out when it was put on there, but the Dogwood project is programmed in the NPO.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how, I'm not sure if we can even change it at this time.
Right, because it's already into that 2022 with the MPO projection, I mean, their long-range plan.
Right, it's in the program.
Right, so that would have been put in place a year or so, a couple years ago, maybe?
Or at least 2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
Okay. Does that give clarification, Councilmember Carlson?
Indeed, thank you.
Okay. That's why it's important that we are attending these meetings to make sure that we get funding for these huge projects that we have going on in the city. And Councilmember Sias, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, this is for Craig. When will we expect the punch list to be completed on North Shore Drive and Piney Point as well? Because some of the erosion up there has been caused by some of the punch lists not being completed. Is that true? And so I'm curious when this is going to be taken care of by Millbrook.
The east-west section of Piney Point, we're going to put some valley gutter on the south side to prevent the erosion in the future. We're working with the contractor to get him back in town. When that date is, we don't know yet.
Okay. Could you keep me informed on that, Craig, and let me know when that date, when you get a hold of Millbrook and when they agree to come out and do that? So
I'll keep you posted. Yep, council posted.
thanks.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, moving down to goal number 4, the drainage improvement. There's been a number of issues with flooding this spring and summer. City Council has petitioned the Water Resource Commissioner's Office to create 2 drainage districts within the city. The DPW crew is repairing storm drains identified through the SAW grant. as time permits. And as we know, water has been an issue, so. Any questions with that goal and where we're at this point? Okay, moving down to goal number 5, city properties improvements. Improvements to City Hall ought to be started this week. And the Recreation Commission is working on the site plan for improvement with Fire Barn Park, which we approved last month. And we approved to have Pam Blau continue with that, the site plan. And then DPW has been doing a nice job in keeping the city parks maintained. There's a lot of green space out there for those guys to take care of. Any questions regarding that and the timeline that we have set up with improvements at City Hall?
Your Honor, just to clarify, again, they were supposed to start last week. They have not started yet, but we're still
Okay.
expecting to start this week.
Okay,
So
sometime soon.
Yes.
Mhm.
question for Craig. They will have it completed before the school starts, where we have all the kids out there in that playground that's trashed.
Well, yes, the daycare will be mostly used in that area that's going to be reseeded. So we're trying to get it done as soon as we can.
Okay, just keep in mind, we have the daycare is going to be starting getting busier here as we start reopening businesses and such what. So stay on their tails.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes. Mhm.
there are some issues that are being brought up now with the cancer problems that the firefighters are facing now. And I would like to see in the future, maybe work session, discuss some improvements to the fire station to mitigate those issues. Also, that building is a very old building, and we may want to start looking at improvements of the fire station.
Okay, that's something that we could put on a future work session, September, or October.
That would be fine.
Okay. Thank you. Moving down to goal 6, the ADA compliance. No new progress under this goal, but all new projects will include the ADA compliance. And I know that working with DPW with the picnic tops, by extending those out a 10-foot versus the 8 provides ADA compliance for wheelchair accessibility at the ends.
And we did talk,
Pardon me?
we did talk about that in our site plan for Fire Barn Park as well.
Right, yep.
including
Very,
that in
and it's an easy fix. If they're replacing 8-foot boards with a 10-foot board, 12-foot board, and it fits the bill very nicely. Goal number 6, fill openings for boards and commissions. City's board and commissions have mostly been filled. There's one for the recreation, one alternate for ZBA, one vacancy on the brownfield redevelopment, and one vacancy on the construction board of appeals. This is what I'd like council to discuss tonight during this session. The youth council was created in 2010. Members of the youth council was to be an ex officio member to certain city boards and commissions. The youth council was publicized and visits were made to area schools, including myself, and Councilmember Schoberg had done that. 3 applicants were received, one of which was not a city resident. Since it's been created, the youth council has not met. It may be time to abolish the youth council and delete the references to the youth council member on the city boards and commissions in the city code. What is council's discussion at this point? Do we want to abolish it since we've had no action done in 10 years with this?
Your Honor, I would make a motion or suggest we put it on the agenda for the next meeting that we hold a hearing and abolish it. We're getting no participation. There's no point in
Correct.
keeping it.
Mhm.
When's the last time we solicited for members?
It's an ongoing. I mean, I teach and I have Spring Lake, Grand Haven students in teaching a business class, and that you get some of those students. And then I also know a couple dozen other high school students, and there's some that have been very active in the political arena but they're not interested in doing this. I know it was very popular earlier in Zealand and Holland, but since I think part of our challenge is we don't have that grade level. We don't have 10th, 11th, and 12th graders here. I mean, we have residents, but not a school to
Sure.
officially house them. So it makes it more challenging. So any other comments or discussion with that? Or just council agree to put it on an agenda item? We can discuss it more at length.
Yeah, let's discuss it more.
Okay. All right. Then
So-
moving,
Before we go on, Your Honor, so do you want to discuss it as a work session item, or do you want to draft ordinance to look at and have an introduction on first reading to discuss it?
I believe that's what Councilmember DeWitt was looking at doing, is
Yeah,
to
look,
put it on as an action item.
Well, the proper procedure would be to amend the city code, and that would be an ordinance, so it would be a introduction, first reading at one meeting, and considered for adoption at the next meeting.
Certainly.
Okay.
Is Councilmember DeWitt, is that what you're looking at, abolishing this?
yeah, if we have no participation, what's the point of having it on the books? I mean, I've solicited lots of high school people trying to, get it going, and, for 10 years, and everybody says no,
Mhm. Right.
so, what's the point?
So we have motion, was there support? Councilmember Montgomery, had you supported that motion?
Well, I think just a
Yeah.
Consensus at this time.
Pardon me?
Be just a consensus at this time to put
Okay.
on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you. Moving down to goal number 6, education, training, council members, boards, and commissions. Information is on ongoing opportunities is provided when received, and I think staff does a great job with notifying council members when there is upcoming trainings and opportunities. And then number 7, collaboration with neighboring communities, cost sharing, joint project ventures. There's no new project process under this goal. Staff continues to look at ways to collaborate with neighboring communities. Ferrisburg did work with Grand Haven, Spring Lake Village on the recent Wear a Mask campaign. So-
Your Honor, can we back up just a minute? I have a question for Craig. The planning commission and zoning board, they get the notifications of the ongoing training at the county?
Yes,
Do all board members get that?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
That's usually sent out in January, either the end of the year, the first of the year or so for February trainings.
correct. Usually in
Mhm.
January or February.
Thank you.
So any questions, comments about our goals that we just went over? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move down to public comments. We have one attendee, but I don't see a hand up at this time. So moving down to reports, city manager,
No report?
council members, Councilmember DeWitt,
No report.
Councilmember Sias.
Yeah, I have a couple things. The Monster Bash, unfortunately, is going to be canceled in October due to the COVID situation. We just don't think we can make it happen. And another thing, I'd like to commend the city council on doing a good job on this, the goals for this year, and working hard on them, and committing themselves to them. And I'd like to commend the mayor for leading us, and Craig for his assistance. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Montgomery,
No report.
Councilmember Carlson,
Kitzel Lincoln Student Preserve Board virtual meeting tomorrow night.
has a new intern been selected yet? Or when school starts in the fall?
We're not gonna, I don't believe that we're gonna have another intern until next summer.
Next summer? Okay, thanks. I know that they're always a great help in the role assistants to that board. And Mayor Pro Tem O'Donnell.
Yes, in July, the Board of Review met to clean up some issues that came up in the tax rolls. and answer some questions for the public. This is at a request of the state governor to make sure everybody's needs were met during this crisis. And I will be very glad when we can meet all in person again. End of report.
Okay, thank you. Just want to share out that I attended a webinar regarding the information was shared with the State of Michigan Treasury Department about revenue sharing, and that's going to look different. I forward that information on to Craig and Debbie to review. Also attended Mr. Buzzinger and I attended the MDOT webinar regarding the drawbridge in Grand Haven, the M104 and the US 31 bridge over 3rd Street in the upcoming construction phases that we'll be going through next year. So, and then also at this time, I just want to thank the staff, the fire department, our sheriff's department, DPW crew for everybody working so hard and continuing to keep the city moving forward and keeping everyone safe. So thank you very much.
Your Honor,
Yes.
one thing that slipped my mind, do we want to cancel the first city council meeting? Because that would be Labor
September
Day.
8th. Yep,
Yeah,
that would be,
that'd be
it would be on
Labor-
a Tuesday because Labor Day being Monday.
Okay, just throw that out there and see what the consensus is. I don't know if we have anything earth shattering on the agenda at this point, do we, Craig?
Nothing at this time.
But it would be, okay, so there's nothing on it this time. What is the consensus of council? Do we cancel that Tuesday meeting?
So we made a commitment to review these residences for pumping their water. So I would hate to hear back that they got a landscaper that could come in around that time and we canceled our meeting.
Okay, so if staff receives information that we can review prior to that from the engineer. So we'll keep the meeting on as is on the 8th. So remind everybody it's on a Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
Well, on the motion for the North Shore Drive, it was approved to allow them if the city engineer approved it.
Right.
Okay, so we won't need to discuss any further, Craig?
No, unless he has something that he needed us to hear, then I'll bring it to city council.
Okay. So as long as we're not slowing them down from getting their properties pumped out, I have
Correct.
no issue. I have no issue canceling it.
So is that the consensus for the rest of the council also of canceling it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we can make the announcement on our website that that meeting will be canceled. Thank you. Any other comments or questions at this time before we adjourn? Okay. Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
Support.
Support?
Thank you. Take care. Keep everybody safe. Bye-bye.